Welcome, my friends, to the review of the BATERIA Power 10 amp charge controller. So this is the unboxing. Open this guy up. There's this manual over here. Let's read the manual. It has all the information here. Reading this over. So see, it says don't go over 35, but they keep trying to tell you 30 volts. So what's cool about this unit is that it's compatible pretty much with all 100 and a lot of 200 watt panels that are up to 30 volts or up to 35 volts. Okay, so it comes in this box with a couple extra pigtails for SAE connections. This goes right in the trash. Okay, and next, let's open up this thing. We open it up. We get a unit like this. So here's the back parameters. And I gotta say, I've been using this thing and it's been really wonderful. Why do I like it? Well, when it comes in, it comes with these pigtails for easy, quick connect and disconnect. Why do people use solar generators and things that could be powered from the sun? Is because they have this little input thing. But what nobody's talking about is that this input is limited to 100 watts. I've often seen this one maybe even charge it at only 65 watts, or so it depends on the battery pack. If you get a bigger one, which is more expensive, you get a much more charging capacity and much bigger AC power. But what this allows you to do is get a LiFePO4 battery and connect it to the battery pack directly. Let's do the peel. Peeling, oh yeah. Okay, so what this allows you to do is connect to the battery pack directly. So what are the benefits? Well, you could go from one of these units, which has 280 watt hours, costs about between $200 and $300, to your own 12 volt battery pack. That's what I did. I bought a whole bunch of 12 volt battery packs. This is the modification that I added. There's a connector called Anderson. This Anderson connector allows you to basically connect multiple different devices, and you can't mix them up. If you try to put these two together, they won't connect, but two reds would. So the polarity could never be messed up. So what are the benefits of that? Well, you could take a charging brick, a Dell 240 watt power supply. I just buy these just because, you know, they're like $20, $30 on eBay. A ton of notebooks, laptops come with those. And you could make the connector. You got to make sure that you figure it out what you're doing. But inside, basically, the cable, there's a plus and a minus, and a neutral ground wire. So what does this let you do? Well, see where it says sun? You could plug one of these, right? Or you could plug in your solar panel. But with this universal connector, this allows you to use either your charger, and then this side, you connect to the battery bank. Let's take a quick little video tour of how this charging system works and how this revolutionizes the whole system and allows us never to use a solar generator again, because we could get a whole bunch of these. Just think about it like this, right? So this one, let's say, has 100 watts maximum charging capacity. So it would take for 300 watts, 3-something hours to do it. So we have this one. It could charge up to 120 watts into your battery bank. So you already have a 20 watt extra potential, but then you could just double up, now 240. But mind you, you have to use a separate charging brick to connect to it. Like, for example, you can't connect one 200 watt solar panel to these two controllers together. It won't work. But you could connect two 100 watt panels and it will work. So let me quickly show you how this system works and how it's revolutionary and why I like this unit, because it's compact, it's simple. You plug and play and you don't have to spend all this extra money. But this is nice. Look, it has power delivery. So nowadays, you know, a lot of these bigger battery banks, they say, oh, we have this AC power. It could do so many crazy watts. So this one can do 300 watts because it's a 300 watt bank. A 600 watt bank would have a 600 watt hour bank could do up to 600 watts AC power. But as soon as you turn on the AC power, it takes extra energy to power it. So the AC power, but then if you look at the, let's say, laptop computers, our phones, pretty much everything uses this. Like, for example, this port over here, the 12 volt, 10 amp, you could connect things such as your Wi-Fi router, such as your internet modem to a 12 volt, but you have to check on the adapter what voltage it is. But let's say if it's a 19.5 volt adapter, what you could do is you could get a cable that does USB-C and convert this one. This one can do multiple different voltages. It could do 5 volts, it could do 12 volts, it could do 15 volts, or it could do 20 volts. So a 20 volt adapter, you could just pretty much power your laptop or power even a screen from one of these outputs, which gives you this voltage. But this is the standardized voltage, 12 volts. That's the voltage that you have in your car. And then you have these plugs, the cigarette, they call this the cigarette plug, but that's also 12 volts. That means basically that a lot of devices are already created to be 12 volt compatible. But let's basically get to the point. Let me just show you how this works as an amazing charger and why I use it. We'll be right back to this table. All right, my friends. So this is the one thing to remember. When you're plugging this into your battery bank, first you plug this into your battery, and then you plug in your solar panel and things like this. So this is the power adapter right over here, the Dell power adapter. So I first connected it to my battery pack, which I have already set up with the Anderson connectors and 40 amp fuses. These are automotive fuses. So I have this whole entire bank set up to be working like one of those solar generators. Usually to charge this bigger one, I have a Victron set up. But I like the portability of this one, and I first started charging it with these units. I just have about, 5-10 of them, and those are all the power bricks I have on the wall, lining up so they don't overheat each other. That's an aluminum ruler over there. Anyways, so I'm turning on the power, and now you're gonna see that it's gonna start receiving power. And so it starts receiving power. That's my printer getting activated. Perfect. So we're getting 9.4 amps. So on this side, what does 9.4 amps mean? That means it's about 120 watts. You see, it does 6.33 amps at the 19 volts. You see over here? So that's 19.5 volts, but that's closer to 20. 19.5 and 20. 19.5 pretty much means minimum, but you see we're getting 19.48 volts from that. But it doesn't matter if you connect a solar panel or that. What I'm just saying is that you could take your 12 volt battery pack and charge it with one of these. This thing, when you hold it like this, and after a long time, it does get hot, but I've never had these melt or anything like that. So this is how I charge my battery banks. The way you set it is that you hold this button for, I don't know, 5, say, whatever amount of seconds until these things start blinking, and then you change it to LiFePO4. If you get any of the other batteries, I don't know what are you doing. This is 2023. Only get LiFePO4 batteries. There's a bunch of them. The ones I recommend is the Cloud Energy ones, is this one. LiFePO4 Cloud Energy. This is the 150 watt hour. And this is the Cloud Energy 300 amp hour. Why I like this one is that it has a cigarette plug and a little voltage thing that has on it. So you can actually plug directly into this one. But you see everywhere I have these set up where I could just plug it in directly into my 12-volt battery and not risk a short circuit. Because if you drop on the two terminals, let's say a metal piece, that creates connection, that creates a short circuit, and that makes smoke come out. So 122 watts. So we got this one. But you also have to understand the charge rate, because it does 9.4 amps. The charge rate for battery packs is between 50 and 70 amps that they recommend. But even you could do up to 100 amps, basically, they say. 100 amps you could put in, and 100 amps you could take out of the battery bank. So my friends, don't you realize the amazing potential that we have with 12-volt battery banks in one of these? This one only charges a 12-volt battery bank. But why do I pick 12 volts? Oh, some of these solar panel people, what's his name? Some guy named Dave. There's a solar panel guy. He's like, oh, I hate 48-volt systems, right? This guy plugs in like Teslas. He has AC power everywhere. But I have to ask you the question, why do you need the AC power? Okay, so a window fan, it requires 20, 30 watts, 50 watts. Okay, that takes AC. You have, what else? You have a fridge. Fridge you usually can't replace easily, but you can connect the battery pack and put in an AC inverter and use the Victron, which is going to be much more efficient than one of these battery banks. That's what I found about these battery banks, because these ports over here, they're what's called regulated. So when it's regulated, that means this power port, it's taking energy just to have the port turned on. With a battery pack, you just plug directly in. All right, so let's say, but how do you connect a laptop to it? Well, they have these little cigarette plug adapters that plug in directly into the cigarette port, and you could buy a cigarette port that connects right to the Anderson adapter. So if you have your battery pack, you connect the Anderson adapter with a cigarette port female hole, like with one of these on the solar generator, and you plug in the USB-C power delivery thing, and then you have power, and then you plug that into your laptop, and then it will get the right voltage and wattage from your device. So for a phone, it might do a different wattage, but this is revolutionary. Why is this revolutionary? It's also because solar panels, 100-watt panels, they're ridiculously cheap right now. I just made another video where there's one that I'm buying with Amazon Prime, the solar panel for 80 bucks plus tax. So 2 panels for 175 with tax and free shipping. I mean, you can't get a better deal than that. So with 2 panels, you could actually get 200 watts or more out of these two connected to a battery bank, and then you're not stuck with this guy charging up, taking forever to charge up. So, but then just think about the scalability. You take 4 100-watt panels, and you could do up to 400 watts. Or up to into this guy, you could plug in, let's say, a 200-watt panel and get the maximum 120 watts solar generation. But that would be kind of a waste almost with this. So what you're doing is that you're getting into a solar generation, or you could always charge up your solar battery pack with one of these and the power adapter from Dell. But how do you make these, connections? Is it complicated? No, it's not. Let me just show you. Okay, so you just get one of these kits, 301 assorted pieces. I'll try to make a link. It's an Amazon affiliate code link, so I might get a cut from it, but I haven't ever yet. So basically, housings like this. Okay, you take this. You open it up. So here's the kit. You cut the stupid SAE crap off. Like this is an impossible connector. Look, the minus, the pluses on one side, it's a whole. I mean, do you guys see this? You see, the way that the SAE connector works is that the plus could be plugged into the minus. And this one doesn't do that. This SAE connector is some bullcrap. It's not necessary. Okay, so what you do is you cut this off with scissors, with anything the heck you want. And 1 second. So you cut it, let's see, bunk, holding this guy down. Bang, there you go. So you cut it with a clipper, cutter, doesn't matter. So friends, so here's my conclusion. This is a game changer. You could use 100-watt panels with this all day long. Charge up your 12-volt battery bank. Get 12-volt to power delivery converter. 12-volt devices you power directly from there. There's also one that's 12 volts that does the quick charge ports. So you could do the quick charge ports, you could do that, but usually the ones that make this one also give you one quick charge port. So this is revolutionary. You can use 12-volt battery banks, and where you don't need, especially the AC, you could charge things up much quicker and have multiples of these units. And when they're able to be easily connected, one into another, without messing up the polarities, with a connector that's designed for high amperage. For example, you could ask yourself, why is this only 100 watts input? Because this port, the circular one, it's either 5.5 millimeters by 2.1 or 2.5. There's two standards. Usually for the solar generator inputs, it's 5.5525. But what this means is that this port can only handle so many amps. It can handle, I don't know, probably 5 amps. There's solar generators with an 80 millimeter port, like the UPEs that I have in a previous review video, that can only handle 8 amps. And then when you feel the port when it's charging, it gets really hot. But this Anderson port is superior because depending on the wire, like for example, underneath here is probably 12 gauge wire. So that can handle up to 20 amps. So it's never gonna overpower. And the connector that I'm using for this one is either the 45 amp or the 30 amp connector. So you have no worries where this is connected that it's gonna get overamped. And plus, this also limits the amperage too that comes into this unit. So what else is great about it? I've been able to use the Dell Power Bricks to charge my 12-volt battery with it. So that saves me a ton of money. And what I like about that is that I don't have that annoying fan noise that solar generators have. When you hear them charge up, they're going, ooh, why do I want that? This is much cooler. You plug this in, so I want to charge up the battery bank faster. I put 4 of them connected. So I'm charging up at 400 watts, more than 400 watts, maybe 480 watts. yeah, it cost me money initially, but then I have this to use for the rest of my life. I mean, I'm planning to live a long time. 100 years later, this could still be plugged into a solar panel and to be enjoyed. So this allows you to plug into the AC adapters. The Anderson connector is easy to connect, but otherwise, you need to use one of these. Otherwise, you have to use one of these Victron Energy MPPT 130. Okay, so this gets really complicated. This is really heavy compared to this. Okay, so this one can do up to 30 amps. Okay, this one, so we put two together, so that's going to be probably 18, 19 amps, and that's so much smaller. And so with this one, you could use a bigger solar panel. This is much more professional, things like this. But this is plug and play. You just plug your solar panel in and use it. So that's kind of nice. Okay, so how do we make the connectors? So you cut the end of the cord. Then you use this thing called a Nipex. This is the setting. You stick the end of the cord in on one end. This guy pulls it and pulls off the jacket of it. So you obviously do positive then negative. And then you get one of these kits. And put this on the end of the cord. Remember, right on red. Boom. Then you use this tool called the tri-crimp. I'll link you to a video that does this. So you want to get this this tool. This allows you to put the end connectors professionally onto it, and then you're pretty much off to the races. The tape that I used is this Tessa one, the little fuzzy one. There's another version that's not fuzzy. So here's the difference. I like the fuzzy one. I like how it feels. This is the kind of connections I made. Why did I put the fuzzy one? Is that I don't want these connectors moving around, but they kind of plug into each other. Anyways, so that's revolutionary. So would I recommend this to people? Yes. Who wants to use a solar generator? I don't know. This is kind of nice. I mean, I'm powering my LED light on top with this solar generator. It takes forever to charge up. Or I could just make my own system, charge up my batteries. Oh, also, Ilya, well, why don't you get this charger there's battery chargers out there? Well, I like the idea of MPPT is because MPPT is designed to be plugged into your battery pack all the time. So once you're done charging, it's not going to overcharge it. And that's what MPPTs are made for, if I understand it correctly. With the regular charger things, it usually says unplug it and take away the battery. That's kind of annoying. This, I kind of like that, hey, if I forgot to unplug it, I'll be fine. The battery is going to be fine. And this is simple. I like this connection. I like that it's so much smaller. This obviously can handle a lot more power, and this is probably the best of the best. But if I want to take my battery pack outside, which one is easier to connect? To this one, you have to plug in all these wires. It's heavy. Or you plug a single one of these into your solar panel, into the end connector. You create this universal connector. You plug it in, you plug it out, you leave. Or you use your power block to do it. All right, my friends, if I continue on talking any longer, then you might want to thumb up this video, check out the links, see the stuff, and see the kind of thinking that I have. And let's have a discussion below. I mean, this is cool. You could get a whole bunch of things. This is called Anderson port. And look, you could just plug one into another. You could see the power coming in, things like this. So easy. I mean, life is so nice. So for example, what is the differences that you get, for example, with the Cloud Energy battery bank? 150 amp hours. That's 1.9 kilowatts. It cost probably 500 with tax and shipping. I mean, shipping was free. So $500, you have 1.9 kilowatts. These adapters, I mean, they cost money, but then you could have multiple battery banks. But then a 2 kilowatt battery bank usually is going to cost you $1,100 and up. But yeah, you have the inverter in it and things like this, but it makes noise when it's charging, and this is kind of convenient. I mean, you plug this in, you have, let's say, 5 panels, 10 panels, boom, you charge it at 500 watts. With the solar generator, there's an amp limit, there's the connector limit, there's only one connection, and it makes noise when you do it, and this one, it's just perfect. So BATERIA power, you get 5 thumbs up, 5, 2, as many thumbs as people have, 2 usually. People are getting gene modified nowadays, but that's the story for another day. So that's battery. So make sure you connect the right end, you connect to the battery first, and then you connect the solar panel on the other end. And this makes this life so much easier. So what this allows basically is, what is a solar generator? A solar generator is basically a battery pack with connectors for USB built in and connectors for AC built in. But since we usually use mostly DC stuff anyway, I mean, most of the stuff that we're using right now, cell phones, laptops, could be powered off these ports. These AC ports, I mean, hair dryer, window fan, TVs need this. I'm trying to think, but I want my battery pack charged up real quick. So, or if we have rolling blackouts eventually one day, then I want in a couple hours to be charged up. I want to be full of power, energized, and be a leader of this world, and not only just survive. Surviving is one thing. You can survive in the woods, but you want to thrive. You want to take the potential and be free. Free like we were meant to be. All right, friends. I will talk to you soon. Let's have a discussion. Let's get the best stuff. Let's get connected. Let's get powered up. Let's get empowered. Think about what we can do to improve our lives every day in every way. And keep on trucking. All right, my friends. Bye.